Hey guys, welcome back to another video. We're doing an SBS model video today. This is a kind of a remake of the most popular video I've ever made, which is how to quit your job in 90 days. So if you want to learn how to quit your job in 90 days, watch this video and let's jump into it. So first thing I would add is an indicator, which is swing point indicator on TradingView. If you just type in swing in the indicators, grab this one, swing high, low, support and resistance. It's going to mark out swing points, which is very vital in the swing breakout sequence model. So the next thing is SBS is like a 6-step process. Okay, and we're going to jump into that here. So first step is a breakout. That's why the swing points here is important, because it's kind of a little area where we can look for a breakout. Second step is a tap into breakout zone. Okay, so we'll go over that in a second, but essentially if this is our breakout, we want to tap back into that. It can be right away, it can be 10 minutes later, an hour later, or immediately the next candle. So the third step here is move higher than the breakout. So we break out initially, we pull back, we need to move above that first area where it broke out initially. Then the fourth step is we want it to move below number 2. Move below number 2. It doesn't have to move below number 2, but preferably it would move below. Okay, so I'm going to write not 100%, but is best. And then 5 is a double bottom / top. This is kind of an added confirmation. You do not need to take the entry off of the double bottom, double top. So we'll talk about 2 of the entry models today. And then 6 is just the targets. So this is the general thesis behind the swing breakout sequence. Okay, so let's jump into it. This is Friday. Market open is right here. Generally, we don't want to trade the first 5 minutes anyway. So this is kind of the first area I see of the day here. We have a breakout. So this right here is going to be our step 1. Okay, this right here. We tap back in. We'll call it right here. That's a tap back into that zone. Number 3, again, if we have our thing here, move higher than the breakout. This is our 3. We move higher than here. Number 4 would be right here. Okay. Now, again, this is more of a personal preference. Move below number 2. So this is our number 2. Okay. 1, 2, 3, and 4. We didn't move below it here. As you can see, we are above. From here, the next step is we draw out a fib. Once we see our number 3, I usually draw out a fib because this is how I like to trade it. It is called the golden SBS, which is entry on the golden fib, which is 0.618 of the fib level. So if you go over and you grab a fib tool, right, fib retracement, you're going to mark out from the most recent swing low to swing high. In this case, this is the one that's before the breakout. So I'm going to use this and draw it to the high, which is right here. Now, this is how I like to trade it. So we put a limit order on the 0.618, which is right here, and our stop loss at the 1, which is just where we originally drew out the fib level. From here, 1-to-1, this is your first target. If you want to just do 1-to-1s, you 100% can at the 0.236, and then you can leave runners to the 0, which is just the high of the fib level. Okay, so this would be a 1.6R, and the 0.236 would be a 1R. So beautiful trade there. In this case, this would kind of be our number 4 when we tap the 0.618. Number 5 would kind of be the double bottom, double top, which would be, maybe when we break the high here, we kind of bottomed out here, then we start to move up. You could take an entry once we kind of hit this, bottom out a few times. That would be another entry opportunity, okay, if you didn't want to limit order here. So that's one trade on Friday. That wasn't the highest quality of trade. It's still pretty early in the session. That was 10 o'clock, okay? This is looking like the next opportunity right here. So immediately after at 10:20, 10:30, we have this that marked out from the swing point indicator. We break out. That's our 1. Okay, we break out, pull back, tap back into this area right here. That's 2. We move higher. This is our 3, okay, because we moved above 1. Now, again, I'm going to draw out the fib tool from basically the low before the breakout, which was marked out from this swing point indicator, which is why it's so helpful, and draw the fib to the high. So right there. Now from here, you can see we come down. This is when I, again, would set a limit on the 0.618. So in this case, we got another long right here, stop at the 1, which is just the low of that fib. And first TP is here. We end up hitting the 1-to-1 perfectly. Then we would have moved down. If you went break even right here, then you would have gotten stopped out at break even. We did eventually end up hitting that full TP. Just took a while, okay? But we'll just say you went 1-to-1, got hit out, break even, still a solid trade. Both of these trades here did not cross below our number 2. Again, here's our rule. We break out, we pull back into the breakout zone, move higher than the breakout, and tap back in, ideally below the number 2, but not necessary, okay? If it doesn't map out, it doesn't map out. And in this case, we actually had a really nice 4 and 5. So this was the 4. We tapped the 0.618 perfectly, move up, come down, double tap the 0.618. That's your 5. So if you want to wait for a double bottom, double top, there's your 5. You can enter again right here. You got your chance and immediately moved up from there. Okay, tapped it perfectly to the T. A lot of people in the Discord say that NQ moves off of this model. So SBS still works. Okay, so we can see if we can find some other trades here. Right here, if you got hit 1-to-1 here and then break even, we had, it looks like a breakout here for a short. So a 1, then a 2, then we move below the breakout zone. It doesn't have to close, just has to move below. So that's your 3. You could again draw out the fib here. So the fib I'm going to take again from the high this time, before the breakout to the number 3, which in this case is right here. Then we move up, tap the 0.618 right here. You can set your limit order, set your stop loss here, and your 0.236 for a 1-to-1 is here, and your 0 is right here. Okay, so already 3 wins. I'm not cherry picking these. I'm literally looking at this for the first time right now. I'm trying to find as many possible trades as I can. So this is 11:30, third trade, and you would have won, okay? And again, right here, we have our breakout, 1, move back up into the breakout zone, 2, move below the breakout here, 3, tap back into the 0.618, which is your first entry opportunity. That's your 4, okay? That's your 4. Then number 5 actually happened kind of right here. We start to move down, come back up, kind of double top here. Then we send off lower. So again, double tops and double bottoms aren't always going to be perfectly clean. And then 6 is just your target down here. So overall, pretty solid trade there, actually. Okay, so let's move on. So you would have hit your target here. So we'll look from here onwards, I guess. We had a breakout here, pull back. We never end up coming down here anymore, so that wouldn't have been a trade there. Right here, looks like we have a breakout. So a 1, then a 2, then a 3. So we could see, we could mark out a fib, but if we're marking it from the low before the breakout to the high, our 0.618 is down here. We would have never hit that. So there would have been no trade here. Okay, would have been no trade here. Let's see here, potential for another 1, then a 2, then a 3, potential 4 right here. Again, it partly depends where you draw your fib. So in this case, if you're doing it from the low to the high before the breakout, that would have been right here to right here, okay? So you would have gotten stopped to the tick pretty much right here. If you drew that, okay? So a lot of people say in the comments, I cherry pick the wins. This, if you did this, how we've been talking in this video, this would have been a loss, okay? So breakout, pull back, move higher, and then your 4 would have been here. You had a chance to take some profit, then it came back and hit out there. That partly depends how you want to do your stops. Maybe you want to wait for a candle to close at your stop, things like that. But in this case as well, if you marked out the fib from down here to the high, would have almost hit it to the tick, still wouldn't have hit though. So that would have we'll just count that as a loss there. Okay, keep going. Say you lost right here, so we'll look from here onwards. Breakout, never pulled back here. Let's see here. We have right here a breakout, then a pullback. So our 1 and our 2 right there. Pull this over here. Then we have a move higher, so 3. And we could mark out our fib from this low to the 3 high, which I guess I'll mark as up here because this is where it, you know, topped out and started to pull back. And then you could have limit ordered. So I'll grab our long tool. Could have limit ordered on the 0.618. Stop right here. Never got hit. Got 2 points away, but never hit. And then we hit our 1-to-1 and our full TP there. Okay, so another nice win there. Hopefully you guys are starting to get the gist. It's pretty simple. We break out, we pull back into that breakout zone, move higher than the initial breakout or lower if you're shorting. And then you can draw out your fib for that 0.618 limit entry or wait for that double bottom, double top. Okay, but a lot of times in my experience, double bottoms, double tops do not happen. Okay. Moving on here. Moving on, we had a big sell-off. Say you hit your target here, we'd be looking from here onwards. So this would have been the first potential area. We had our breakout here and return to the zone here. So I would have counted this as our 1 and our 2. Doesn't look like any trade would have played out there because it's too big. We never actually crossed up there. So let's see if we have anything in here. Looks like we have a 1, then a 2, a breakout, then a pullback into the breakout zone. So now we'd be waiting for a 3, which happens right here. Then we could draw out a fib and see if this played out. Again, just drawing it how we have been from the video, from the low before the breakout to the number 3, which is here. And if you limit ordered here, again, you would have had a worse fill if you limit ordered. Stop here, target at the 0.236, that hit, and the full TP hit as well. So we've had like four wins and a loss, I think, in this video so far. But here again, so a breakout, pull back into the breakout zone, moved higher than the initial right here, 3. Then we moved down, hit the 0.618. You could limit order. We also kind of had the double bottom down here. You know, I would count that as your 5. So an opportunity to kind of enter somewhere right here. Okay, that ended up playing out very nicely. Let's see if we can find one more for this video so it doesn't get too long. So you would have hit your full TP here. We can look from here onwards. So we had a breakout, pullback. So this would have been a loss, it looks like, if you took it. Oh, this is at 7 p.m. though. So I didn't even notice this was the end of the day. So I guess we'll just call it there. So this actually happened. It looks like, yeah, this wouldn't have even counted as a win on a prop firm because you would have entered at 5 p.m. and it would have hit TP when the market reopened. So overall context, it worked, but on a prop firm, you wouldn't have done that. So, but still got a few nice trades in there. This is a 1 minute chart. You can fractalize this down into any time frame because it works on any time frame. Obviously, some time frames you're going to have probably a higher win rate with. But overall, again, breakout, tap into that breakout zone, move higher than the initial breakout, which is at number 1, and then move down, ideally below number 2. A lot of times it doesn't happen. So draw out that fib, 0.618, and take it. Okay. Hope you guys enjoyed. Little showing that SBS still does work. It's, you know, for our auto trader, SBS auto trader, it still prints money for a lot of people that commit to it. So hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.